This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, so where do I get my money from? So basically here you have an option as and when you start a smaller organization or a startup or an SME, whatever you call it as, you always have an option to go back to the government organizations and the startup organizations. So let's say in Qatar, you've got the incubators, you've got the Qatar Development Bank. So who's going to support you with adequate funds and grants, when you have a business in place. So it's not about just the mind, it's not just about the money, it's about the mindset. And you have access to funds. It's all about utilizing those funds with some meaningful business applications, right? And we all know that digitization is in full swing. So what it can do, it will help you to actually control your business, and you're going to have in control. So when I say this, so if I give you an example, so let's say we both are starting a business, like two people are starting a business, and today we know everything about each other. You don't need to have any system, you don't need to have any technology, because we are just two people, we understand each other very well, right? And the communication is easier. What if when you grow, when you go up to 20 people, when you go up to 100 people, 50 people, are they going to understand the same way what you both used to understand? How would you make those new people understand how to do your business? So this is where digitization makes job easier. So it talks about reducing your administrative cost. I would like to ask you that what about you, where exactly are you, and what's your plans on this? I don't know, like, so probably let's discuss more on this as and when you go through. And and when you talk about digitization, digitization is nothing but it's simply, whatever activities you do in the business, you're basically using technology to do those processes or those key activities. So if you've got an activity to complete, rather than practicing them in manually or using a lot of Excel sheets and MS Office suits, you can easily have a very simple workflow. And if you have to have an approval, like, it can go into an approval process. If somebody rejects it, approves it, the communication becomes easier through notifications, through alerts, through reminders. So what happens here is that when you talk about digitization, there are so many options available in the market. Everybody claims that we have the best software available, but the question what you need to ask, what exactly makes sense for your business, right? What I'm trying to tell you is that anybody can actually build a business, anybody can actually build a software as well, right? But how meaningful is that software? What kind of knowledge base and expertise available in that software? When I say this, if I have to do a SWOT analysis for my business, am I doing a SWOT analysis based on my own industry, my own region, my own culture, my own stakeholders? So do I have to do everything? Now, so you need to look for softwares, or you need to look for technology platforms, not just by the user interface, but also what knowledge base it has. When I say this, it is very simply, you need to make sure that it has got enough of the knowledge based on your industry, based on the business what you're talking about, based on the region it has talking about. So the knowledge has to be built in, so that you don't need to search for information, you don't need to search for insights about your specific industry. So whenever you add, so, okay, my business is trading, okay, I trade ABC, and these are my markets and these are my regions. So the system should be able to give you enough information based on the criteria you provided into the system. So it is not just about building any software, it is basically building a meaningful software, which has some intelligence built into it, right? So when you actually look into your business, let's say if you're starting your own business, or if you already have your existing business, you always see these lines, I don't need to read them through. So I will just pick few of them. Generally we say that I'm very good at my business, I know everything what needs to be done, but I don't know how to keep them organized, right? And another thing which I always look into is that I need to have my business tracked, and all my business information needs to be captured from one single location. I'm a small business. I don't have time to go through 10 different business application in my small business, right? And I need to have my business plan done by my own efforts. I don't need an external consultant to write a business plan for me. I don't need a financial expert to come and tell me this is how my finance should look like. I should be knowing what do I need to achieve when I start my business, right? I should be knowing what are my markets. Well, I know I gave you an example of a SWOT analysis in the past, right? Also, I've got my business plans. I should be able to track them with meaningful KPIs. I should be able to set my objectives, right? And I don't know how many of you are actually doing a business right now, right? I would ask you one simple question, which is the last point mentioned here. I've made a business plan, I've made a feasibility study with the help of someone else or myself. Have you really utilized that business plan when you're actually doing a business? I don't know. These are questions to think on. So you need to make sure that whatever inputs you give to your business when the time you're starting a business has to be available within your business throughout your business, right? So it's important that whatever business you create, whatever business plan you make is utilized even after three years, even after 1 year. So but only thing is that it keeps getting updated based on your performance, based on the input it goes into. But you cannot make a business plan for the sake of creating a business plan, submit it to the bank to open an account, and just leave it over there, right? It has to be a business plan which is created basically to run your business, not to submit as part of your bank account or as part of your business incubation project, right? So it is important that you do your own stuff. And what you need to get into is like when we looked at what are the things you need. So you need a centralized platform where you have all your business information available, right? And you need to have a platform where your leads and opportunities are tracked in one place, right? Your financial planning is done by your own team. You've got your business goals organized, and all what you have to do is that you need to identify what do you need in terms of your financial goals. Okay, how much money do I have to make? When do I have to make it? When do I have to start it? You just have to choose those areas, so the system will be intelligent enough to ask you the meaningful questions. And all what you have to do is that you have to choose the answers and put the timelines against it. And most importantly, you can also add who's going to do it from your team members, right? From the list of teams what you have. So what I'm saying is that if I have a wish list where I would say that I need a system with all these features. I don't know, would you be interested to look at some these kind of a basic information available in an application where when I go into my digitization. So what I'm trying to tell you is that don't try to go into the technology platforms which are all inbuilt or well built, and which manages only a few areas of your business, and still you have to be dependent on other systems or Excel sheets to complete the rest of the areas. So all what you have to make sure that these areas are very well covered, and you're working with them really well. I think the last two slides makes perfect sense if you really think of your business. I don't know how do you think about it, but all what I would say is if you look at what you need, and if you look at what you get from a software, from a technology platform at the basic. So this should be the basic level. It should talk about your customers. It should tell you who are my customers. Are they government, are they SMEs, or what is a percentage of business going to come in from those customers? What is going to be my retention ratio? And how soon am I going to get my customers? What channels am I going to use it? Am I going to go myself? Am I going to have my own sales team? Am I going to have a CRM in place? I don't know. So you need to make sure that all these things are brainstormed using one single platform, right? And the challenges when you look at the digitization, the most important challenge I've not listed here, because that is addressed on the second slide or the third slide of this presentation, where we talk about the money, right? So whenever you look at your digitization, the first thing is a budget. I'm a small company, where do I get my money from? So I'm repeating it for the people who join later. I could see a lot of new faces joining in right now. So you have the option of going back to the grants and funds from different government agencies, from different investors. So you can always go back to those resources. You can say that, okay, the Qatar Development Bank is giving you something, the National Incubation Centers is giving you something, but all what you have to make sure that, you need to have a meaningful plan, right? And the second challenge, what we look at or what we see is that, the awareness of the importance of the digital transformation. So you don't really know the benefit of it. So I spoke about the speed, I spoke about the consistency. This is only possible. This is only possible when you have, digitized, or when you have a technology platform doing things for you. So you need to use machine intelligence in terms of applying your business thoughts faster, right? Otherwise, you will end up staying behind your competitors. So it doesn't have to be a complete, a very big system. It can be a very simple system, but it should be able to communicate, which is the biggest trouble of any big or small organization. So the communication becomes easier, the activities are very clear, the accountabilities are very well defined. So I know that, I was doing 10 things, now I'm supposed to do 4 things because I've got more people in my business. So it's important that, we understand the challenges, and we make sure that, how would these challenges reflect on my own business, right? And then second thing is that, you always think about the insecurities. Okay, I've got my system, I've got my business information, somebody would steal my information. But what you're talking about is that, the technology at its peak, and it is growing. So you have got all the facilities where the technology can secure all your information. It can give you the best of the information security from all these providers. So if it is not the software provider, it can be easily given by, the place where it is hosted. So it could be an Amazon Web Services, it could be an Azure. So you have all these facilities where you can look into. So most important thing is that, you've got the funds available, and you need to think of speed and consistency when you run your business. So even if you're running a business with one person, even if you're running a business with 10 people, it's important that, you stick to the speed, and, it has to grow, and it has to be consistent as well, right? And the question is, like, why do you go for digitization? Is it really worth? Am I doing digitization for the sake of capturing the information? Because we all see that, every business, capture the information so much. I would say that, I've got all my business details, I've got all my leads, I've got all my lead sources, I've got all my opportunities, but do I really analyze them? I create an application, or I use 3 or 4 application in my business, which has got plenty of data. Am I really utilizing my data? Is it really useful for me when I plan for my next year? Or am I looking at just the numbers, or just the deals which are getting closed, right? So you need to look at a platform which will give you enough intelligence and insights, where you can look at where you can look at utilizing those information which are captured. So don't build or don't buy an application or don't buy the services just because of the brand name. As long as it is able to capture your information and give you enough intelligence and reminders using the same system, you can always go for it, right? It will ensure speed and consistency. Otherwise, it's going to be a difficult thing. You would buy a system, you would end up exporting all the information into Excel sheets and PowerPoints, and you will always, massaging the data, right? So it's important that, like, all the information captured, and so in your business, you need to know that, what happened and what is happening. Using these two information, you should be able to look into what is likely to happen. So that is very important for you as a business. So let's look at what are the options available when you look at your business. So you're saying that, okay, I've got an ERP system, I've got a CRM system, I've got an accounting system, I've got Slack, Zoom, and I've got my MS Office suite, I've got my mobile applications, I've got my social media, and I've got my analytics platform, right? So what happens is that the finance team comes and tells me we need to have an accounting system, right? And the sales team will come and say that, okay, we need to have a CRM, right? The operations would come and tell me that, okay, you need to have an ERP. We're a small business. Do you really need all of them in one place, or will one solve the purpose of all of them? I don't know. You should know all these things. So let's look at it. Let's look at these options. So all what I would say is that, don't buy multiple stacks. Buy one system which can capture everything in one place, even if it is smaller. Buy one system which can be scaled into a bigger level when the business grows. So at this point of time, you need only a small system. At this point of time, you need an optimized system which can help you better. So all these names, but when you buy a software, you need to make sure that you're buying something which has all these capabilities, but at the same time it has got enough intelligence to ask you the right questions, right? So what I'm trying to do is that I'm going to give you a quick overview of an application which we have developed and designed, or designed and developed, like considering all these challenges. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to say that this is the first step in digitization. This has only the basic elements. It can have the likes of artificial intelligence infused into it, depending on the size and shape of the organization, the need of your organization, and from their own, it can be easily done, right? So what are the key areas we are looking at from this system? So it will be able to give you all the insights and reports, basically in the form of dashboards and reports. So you can see that every corner of the business and every data captured in the business, you're getting those you're getting those information as insight. So it would be able to tell you the story behind the data. And every business has got a lot of ideas, so it has got a lot of innovation elements. So right from capturing an idea, writing a business profile, adding a business processes, writing a business plans and goals, conducting a SWOT analysis, planning for your markets and marketing initiatives, and driving a sales, and working around your numbers, and the key operational elements, depending on what kind of business you're in, and also the most important element of the customer service, and the circle goes on and on and on. So we are talking about a simple system which has got these areas. It cannot be so simple that like everything can be captured. So what it does is that depending on the size and shape of the business, so there may be a few elements going out from this list, or there may be few elements which may come into the list as well. So we call it as a business house. And you can also say that conversational data capturing. I'll explain about conversational data capturing in some time. But these are the key domains what you would get to see as an SME when you look at the business house as a system. So if you take a deeper dive into the system, it can help you to do a lot of things. It can design your organization, you can assign your key roles and responsibilities, you can identify your stakeholders and their needs, you can see what kind of funds I'm going to get it, what is going to be my sales projection for the next 3 years, what kind of marketing initiatives you're going to do it. The question to you is that do you really know about all these things? Do you need a consultant to come and do it? I don't think you need someone from externally to come and do it. Simple reason being is that the system is capable enough with all the intelligence and knowledge within it, within the tool itself. So you don't need to depend on a third party consultant, right? So, and when it comes to finance, I'm not going to run through all of them. So these are some of the key elements you can look into your finance. So it will give you a complete visibility of your entire organization. It will give you the product performance. It would help you to do your financial planning. So I'm going to share this presentation after this, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time. It would also talk about your operational elements in terms of your forecasting and planning of your supply chain, the regulatory compliance, the fleet management, and the sourcing and supply performance, your transportation, storage, and logistics, if that is applicable to your business, right? What we're trying to do is that most of the supply chains are work in isolation. So what we're trying to do is that break out that isolation and get in to see the entire organizational view, right? And when it comes to sales, it's not just about having an organizational sales plan. It can go into an individual sales plan, it can go into a product sales plan, it can go into the deepest level of an organization. You can look at how better can you manage your pipeline, what kind of customer relationship management you have, and how can you interact more personally with your clients. So every element of your business, so that like you have got a complete visibility of your clients, and you can outperform your competition if you have got visibility in your data. So if I may give you an example, so let's say if you want to look at a lost order analysis for the last 3 years, that I've submitted 10 tenders and I've lost 8 of them. And then you can start asking questions, why did you lose it, how did you lose it? So if you don't have information and dashboards, you won't be able to do that. And when I talk about dashboards, these are very intelligent dashboards which is highly interactive, where you can do the slicing and dicing of your data in a very easier manner, right? And what you're talking about is that something which is a plug and play, where you can start using it right from day one, right? So I would say the first 30 days you're going to look at the entire software, making all those customization and tweaks required. And from 30 days from 30 days to 180 days, you're looking at infusing artificial intelligence. I think technology without artificial intelligence is going to be too difficult for any organization, because if you're talking about speed, you need to make sure that you've got artificial intelligence, or you've got intelligent automation. So people would think that, okay, I'm an SME, why should I go for artificial intelligence? If you're talking about speed and consistency, if you want to stay ahead of your competition globally, you need to make sure that you are with it. But this is something which is optional, but I would say you need to stick to it, so to win more, to gain more out of your business, right? And the next thing is that like, no software stays there without further updates and without further releases. So what happens is that the software start acting according to your business needs, and it gets optimized based on your operations. So that is something which is going to come up. And what you're going to get out of it as a value add is that you're going to get a lot of business advisory support. You're going to understand the innovation side of it, and you're going to get the business support in terms of your quality frameworks. And if you have got business ideas coming up, it can be tested using a zero cost prototyping mode. Because what happens is that as a business, we keep on getting new ideas, so you can test all those ideas using the business house itself, right? So you've got a platform where you can capture the idea, and those ideas would be tested using the business house team, so that that in real, how would it look like when it goes digital, right? And I was talking about the conversational data capturing. So if you look at all the software what you're using or what you have used in the past, we always get to see a beautiful user interface and user interaction. But end of the day, you need to input the data, right? You need to add the data into it, right? But let's say if I have to, if somebody is coming and asking me, okay, which location you're planning to operate, and if I get an option for 3 or 4 countries, I would probably choose from that. So it is easy to make comments if I have got the options. So what I'm going to do is that you're going to get a software where all the questions would be asked, right? So that is exactly what we meant by conversational data capturing. So this is a conversation between you and the software, between your team and the software. The software would keep asking you the question. The questions are very well input based on the industry, based on the business you choose. The software would be capable enough to shift gears and give you the right kind of questions, and it would answer it would and you would be answering the questions from choosing the list of options, or you have an option to add new answers as well. So it is quite intelligent and capable. And how is it done? So this is what I was explaining. You would be asked questions on different domains. So it would be asked questions on business planning, the business overview, your customers, your supplies, your other stakeholders, your legal and regulatory requirements, your objectives, your financial planning, your business outputs, So everything about your business, you would have a conversation happening within your business. And all what you're doing is that you're going to choose things. So this is a very simple example. So you're going to so you're going to answer these questions. So you can see the options available here. These are very simple way of capturing information. So if you go further down, I'm going to run through quickly with some of the some of the screenshots which is available. So within the system. So you're saying that, okay, what's your business name? You have an option to add new. At the same time, you've got options to choose from this. You can choose your shareholders. You can say which is your industry. The industry is inbuilt. The beauty of this is that the moment you choose the industry, the system will automatically start pushing the relevant questions for that specific industry, right? So it's important that no, you choose the right industry. You can choose multiple industries if that is the case. Or like if you can add, like, so here you can add other industries as well. The system would be capable enough to give you the right questions, right questions when you choose the industries. And so you can say that, where are you based? And you can look at your vision, mission, and values. And you can look at what are the services you offer. So all what you're doing is that either you type it in. You don't need to most of the time, because you have got most of the details available here. So here I'm asking, okay, what is my customer type? Are they going to be SMEs? Are they going to be government? Right? So I'm choosing the ones which are applicable. And then I'm talking about, okay, what is going to be my customer weightage? So if I have to put them in 100, how it's going to be. And what's going to be my customer retention ratio? Are you going to run the surveys, right? So what delivery model do you have in mind? It is B2C, B2B. So what I'm saying is that so you have all these questions asked, and end of it, you would be given an output as a business plan. You would be given an output as your business strategy. You would be given an output as your marketing strategy. So everything would be through the questions, and all what you would get to see is that the output of it as an organization. And most importantly, this is not a one-time exercise. You've got your objectives set, and based on your objectives, you would always chase your targets as well. So if you look at the questions here, you can do a SWOT analysis. So I say that I choose Qatar as a region, and I choose let's say consulting as an industry, or I choose retail as an industry. So the SWOT analysis would be very specific to the region, very specific to the industry. So you can choose from this. And so your strength, your weakness, your opportunities, you can choose your currencies, you can build your financials. And so you can look at your funds, whatever is available, your financial the financial year. So, and most importantly, the system will ask you, what do you want to achieve? I would say that, okay, I want to achieve my customers and my finances, right? And then I would say, how are you going to achieve it? So I'm going to have a very strong internal process, by having such a system. And I would make sure that I'm learning within the organization with my team, and also that I've got a very strong structure within my business, right? And so these are called the focus areas or the core business drivers for my business. So I can see that I've got my objectives very well defined. I need to do my cost optimization when it comes to finance. I need to make sure that I need to increase my revenue. I need, so you would choose whatever is required. So when it comes to customers, you've got the options to choose from. When it comes to internal, innovation is key. You need to make sure that you've got a very strong technology platforms and performance management in place, right? So all what I'm trying to tell you is that you've got a system which is highly capable. And all what you're doing is that you're doing conversation with to the system, and the system is able to give you the right answers from the list of choices, and it gives you the output as one centralized platform, right? Now let's look at, I spoke about the artificial intelligence. I don't have a lot of time to talk about artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is nothing but it helps you to speed up your business using the information what is already available in your system. So it can do your historic analysis, it can do your current analysis, which is what is happening. And it can also do the predictive analysis, where you can look at what is likely to happen. And it can also give you recommendations like what you get to see on a Netflix. When you open the Netflix, you see that a lot of new movie recommendations are coming up. So similarly, the system will be automatically able to give you the recommended list of customers, the recommended list of actions, through a recommendation engine. This would take some time when it comes to applying it to your own business, because it needs the data from your own business, not external data. It can work from external data to give you the insights, but if it has to be more meaningful, it has to be a mix of internal and external data, right? So these are some of the core elements when it talks to every domain can have artificial intelligence infused into it. It's a very simple way of utilizing machine intelligence with natural intelligence of human being. So it is actually an augmenting process between the artificial and the natural intelligence, of two different domains. Because when it comes to a large data set, it is always important you make sure that you trust the intelligence of the machines, because we have limitations digging to tens and thousands tens and thousands of pages. So here you can look at your research and prospecting. You can look at your CRM data input automation. When I say CRM, it is all about your customer relationship management data input automation. So you don't need to have manual inputting. You can have soft robots inputting the data for you. And you can look at your lead scoring and qualification, because we always have tons and thousands of leads coming in. But what happens is that we don't know how to score them, qualify them, other than the manual intervention. So you can look at your sales call analytics. You can look at your predictive intelligence, and you can also look at your prescriptive sales. When I say prescriptive sales, you are talking about getting the recommendations from artificial intelligence or using machine intelligence. So what it's going to give you is that this is what is happening in your business. This is why these things are happening, and these are the things which has already happened in your business. So it helps you to stay proactive by analyzing what is happening and what is likely to happen, and what kind of measures we can take, looking at what's happening and what happened and why are they happened. So it's important that you understand these areas, right? So, and these are the tip of the iceberg. You can have the operational efficiency, you can do your financial efficiency by artificial intelligence. But depending upon how fast you want to drive, the most important thing is that you need to have a strong base, which we have already shown you. So if you have that kind of a base to capture the data, so the rest would become easier to analyze and to make smart decision using the artificial intelligence, right? So I've showed you a roadmap earlier, but if you're a visionary businessman or a businesswoman, I would say you should stick to this. I'm going to talk to everyone who's attending this. Even you can talk to others, I know, who's listening to this. All what I'm going to tell you is, if you're a business and if you're using external resources, right, or external technology applications, okay, for a start, it is okay. But how about you're an organization who's operational for 5 years and you're using 10 or 7 or 5 or 4 business applications? You've got a CRM, you've got Excel sheets, you've got an ERP, you've got a finance application, right? What I'm going to tell you is that simply, can you not use your own organizational knowledge to create your own digital assets? If you look at the last one, launch your own digital solution. What I'm going to tell you is, instead of using a Microsoft or a business house of let's say from Excelledia or from Microsoft, from Oracle, from any other organization, why can't you create your own digital asset? So you've been paying your employees for a while. They know how they're doing the business. Even if a software provider comes in, they're going to sit with your own team and make the changes. So it is their knowledge putting into the digital platform. So why can't we do it yourself? Why can't you do it yourself? So we should be able to help you if you're thinking on those lines. Very simply, what you can do is that, what we need to do is that, you need to understand your business, and you need to create a platform where you can utilize it for yourself initially, your own industry, Because when you buy multiple software, let's say CRM and accounting, you end up using only 10 to 20 percentages of 20 percentage of those systems, right? So it's important that you have an optimized platform. You design something based on your requirement, your actual requirement, not something which is designed for the whole globe. So this is something specifically designed for you. You test it internally for 3 to 6 months, and then when you're confident, you launch it to the global market. You've got an alternative business and revenue model, right? You own the IP of that software, right? So other than your regular consulting business, or other than your regular restaurant business, or other than regular whatever business you're into, retail business, what you're going to get is that you're going to have a digital assets where the intellectual property is owned by you, not by a software provider, not by a technology company. Because when you pay money, what you're getting is that the right to use that platform. You don't own them, right? If you know more about the intellectual property, when you pay for it, take that and keep it with you. So that's your thing. You have to manage it yourself. When you're ready, you're selling something which has artificial intelligence into it, which is very well fitting into your own industry, which has been already tested. And like that's a whole difference it's going to make. I don't know how good it's going to be when you look at your own business, managing it for 20 years, end up having only your own employees and your own workforce. So that's really good. So you've built a very strong family. But have you designed your own digital assets? Did you ever think of it? This is the right time to look into those kind of elements. So I would say this is very important, very important for you to make sure that you're getting into it. And the digital business is the future, so you need to define your model. I don't know what is it, so I've given you my thoughts. So I would say, if you have to take something out of it, think about the digital asset. Do you have one, or are you planning to have one? Did you ever think of it, right? Look at the grants and funds available. You've got the right employees, you've got a right workforce. They're going to do it for you. That like any technology company can come and do it. We would be able to help you if you're thinking on those lines. Especially using our data science team, we can build something very specifically using the artificial intelligence. And being a business consulting company, it becomes very easy for us to do the prototyping and testing first. We understand the innovation side of the business as well, really well, right? So that's it from my side. I've been talking for a while, so I would be very happy to take up any questions do you have. So you can also see Zachariah's name over here. So we would be sharing these slides with you, because I did not have enough time to explain everything. I purposely put a lot of details so that you can read through them when it is required. So we have got 14 minutes. I was rushing through at the end, so I'm sorry if I was too fast. So if you have got any questions, I would be happy to take them in. Yeah, and most importantly, please make sure that you share your feedbacks, good and bad about it. And so the most important takeaway I would say is such demonstrations and such platforms, you will get to hear a lot of these every now and then. But have you really did something about it? So this is a time, think of all your existing platforms available within your business, and think of the conversational data capturing. Think of the intelligence which a system should have. Nobody should be using just a list of forms, right? If the system is intelligent, it has to have business inside it, right? So that's exactly what I'm trying to tell you. So I don't know, like, if you have got questions, we can always take it. Otherwise, if you want me to speak, I can speak for another 5 minutes. Yeah. So all what I'm trying to tell you is simply think of the core elements what we have discussed. First is, okay, are you going to go back to the typical CRMs and ERPs? Okay, or are you going to go with the intelligent systems which can ask you the right questions and which will give you the options to choose from? That's question number one. right? The question number two is that, is your existing system giving you what is actually required, or are you playing around with multiple systems, right? So that is, yeah, so that is another question. And the third question is, did you ever think of having your own digital asset, right? So do you have your own digital asset? The reason I'm telling you this is that, we have done it for our business, right? We have designed a software using our team's intelligence, so we're very proud about it. So, and we have actually gone global with it, so it is a global tool which can be utilized utilized as an enterprise management system for the global market. So we have started appointing partners throughout the globe using that system. So it gives you a lot of confidence. Rather than sticking into one market, it would help you to scale your market to multiple levels, right? Okay. So Simon, so good to see you after a while. So I think I know you. Yeah. So Simon, what we were talking in the beginning is that, what we were talking in the beginning is that, okay, what is digitization? So when you talk about the digitization side of it, uh, what is digitization? What are the issues you have? What are the issues you have as a platform? So you're talking about, where will you get the money to digitize? So before you go there, so the first thing we were asking, what is so special about digitization? It is all about speed and consistency by having the digital platform. And you've got a lot of money available from the government platforms in the form of grants and funds. And I'm asking is that, what about you? What have you done? Have you really, thought about it? And, is it going to reduce your administrative cost? Are you going to be in control of your business, right? So it's important that, when you think about your digitization, and then what exactly makes sense for you as a business, right? So what I was trying to tell you is that, anybody can come and write a software for you, but is that software intelligent enough to ask you the right question? So when I say that, I'm into retail, I do a restaurant, so I need to have the right question when I do my SWOT analysis, when I do my financial planning. Do I have it available any other system? Because all the software what we're talking about, it has got the workflow, it has got the approvals, it has got the forms to capture the information when you add them, but it will not give you options to, choose from. So, and what kind of powerful libraries those system has. So these were, I think, the most powerful slides, I would say. What do I need as a business? I need to build my business plan. I need to make sure that, I need to track everything from one centralized location. I've done my business plan using an external consultant. I've done my financial planning using someone else. I need to focus on my customers. I don't know where are they, how are they. When I'm planning, I want a system which will ask you the right questions. What are your channels you're going to go into the customers? What type of customers are you going to go? Is it going to be government? And what would be the number of customers you're looking at in the year one? And most importantly, you've got a business plan which is never used other than the initial few months. So you should have a business plan which should be used throughout your business. So we are looking at, more of a desired state here. So you say that, okay, I've got a system which tells me, this was my business plan, this is where I am right now, and these are the things I should be doing it, right? And the system will ask you the meaningful questions, right? And the leads and opportunities can be managed really well, right? So we spoke about the challenges, other than the funding and the money, because we said there are plenty of grants and funds. We spoke about the awareness and the importance of it. We don't realize the importance unless until we create your own digital assets. We don't really realize the importance unless until the system is giving you the positive and negative impact of your business findings to you as a top man of the organization. So you need to make sure that, how much faster can I drive when I have such systems in place. For that, you need to know what's your current speed, right? So these were the basic things we were talking about initially, and I think you would have seen all these things. So we were talking about, is it really worth Are we really buying a software just for the sake of telling 10 people that, I've got a CRM in place, or is it going to give you the right kind of intelligence in terms of analytics? Because we capture so much of information, and end of the day, what happens is that, we don't really read them through. We don't really utilize them in the form of the actual stories behind my business. So that's exactly what you have to look at it, right? So that's the basics which we spoke about. The options, I think you would have joined by this time. So I think that was a quick overview of what we have done in the beginning, right? So we've got another 7 minutes if you have got. Yeah. Yeah, so this is what I was talking about. I think there is a question from Rajul saying that, okay, work orders can be generated through ERP or CRM. Can our software do the same, right? So this comes in the operations. So when you look at this, so you can see the operations. So the operations can actually address this, all your workflows, all your operational elements, right from buying a raw material till you finish your final products. If you're a manufacturing industry or any industry you're in, your operations can be managed more efficiently by using your operations module. Yes, it can be done. Where can one know more about the business house? Simon, that's another interesting question. So this is a secret zone right now. We have not launched this tool into the market. So I would say these are, basically testing the water. We're talking to people, and the biggest thing what people like about us is, in terms, not us, in terms of the tool, is the conversational data capturing, the availability of intelligence in the form of options, and most importantly, before actually launching this, we are actually currently working with 20 organizations in the UK, smaller organizations in the UK, on a testing platform where they are trying to build their own digital platform, and they're going to launch it as a tool to the global market. So it involves a recruitment company, it involves a restaurant, it involves a service management organization, it involves a technology consulting company. So we have, what we're telling is that, build something for your own purpose in the beginning, then infuse artificial intelligence into it, and then finally what you get to see is that, optimize your operations and add all the most relevant quality frameworks into it and launch it to the market if it is really working well for you. Yeah, I think for the business house, you can write to email ID of Zakaria at excelledia.com. So he should be able to give you the information. But we are yet to launch officially, but this is just testing the water, and like probably thinking more about it. And it would be great to have your feedbacks on what you have heard. Is it realistic? And all what I've shown were the screenshots taken out from business house itself, right? So these were not thinking which we're thinking of, which we're dreaming of. We've actually built it, we're testing it internally. It has been tested by those 20 organizations who's using it. So we are very happy to test it for your business and take it further. Yeah, so this is where you get to align your, so this is where you start with your strategy, right? So you're saying that, okay, what do you need to achieve? And so these are your core business drivers, and then you can choose the relevant objectives, right? So that's how the objectives are done. And you can also have your KPIs, your initiatives, all of them. I thought I will not bore you with a lot of things in 1 hour. So it can take care of your entire performance management in the form of key performance indicators and the performance indicator side of it. So 3 more minutes left. If you have more questions, I think Simon and Rajul were the people who was asking questions. Happy to listen to others as well. Or if you have got further questions, I would be happy to take it up. Another 3 more minutes. So we started 5 minutes late. So we've got another 5 minutes, I would say 5 or 7 minutes. Yeah. If you think it, you can talk. Like I'd be happy to. Yeah. So I would ask you a question. What do you think about it? If you can comment on this. You're not asking questions. I think I would be the right person to ask the question here again. So I would say that, what do you think about such a system? Is it going to be useful? If you can comment, that would be nice. Yeah. I'm trying to talk to you with all the possible ways. Yeah. So, or would you be interested to look into such a system, or would you be interested to explore such a system? So I can see there is a question coming in. Yeah. Okay. What would be your number one advice for a startup investing on a B2B SaaS solution? The number one advice would be stay focused, on what you have to deliver. Don't get diluted with too many things to be involved in the system. So it has to be a specialized system. So it should be so when you're designing a tool, it should solve some of the problems. So you need to identify some of the problems of your customers, your existing market. If you're planning to launch it locally, it should be able to serve the purpose of certain stakeholders and certain markets, and it should be able to cover an opportunity. And most importantly, you need to choose the right technology team to work on, because it's important that the blueprint of your business suite is ready before you actually start developing it. So that's very important. So we have done it the other way around, actually, when we have designed our system, because we had the liberty of our own team. So we took a playground approach where we would try we did a lot of trial and error. From those learnings, what I have learned personally is that focus on the core elements. Write a blueprint for your business. Write a flow. When I say blueprint, write a flow. Design all the forms and make sure that it has been communicated to all your stakeholders before you start even doing your prototype. But the most important thing is that make sure that you prototype your idea before you launch it, before even you take money from someone else. So that would be my biggest advice for a B2B SaaS solution. That's a lot of money, Simon. Like if you look at the global market, it's so fast. Yeah. Yeah, so validation and revalidation, especially from your own customer base, especially from your own target audience. So you need to take it to the market. You should not be thinking that, okay, this is my own concept, I should hide it. I should not tell this to anyone, somebody would copy. Even if you don't show it to someone, somebody, 100 people would be thinking on the same lines, as and when you think about it as well. So it's all about you take that into the market, get hit and learn, and put those learning into your application. So that's the biggest learning you can have, I would say. Yeah. Yeah. So any more questions coming up? I think, yeah. So
I think
was
there
that?
is no further, yeah, there is no further questions. So we would like to thank you so much for the amazing presentation today, and hopefully, inshallah, we can have future webinars scheduled with them. And we would also like to thank our participants for joining the session today.
So thank you very much, Zach. Thank you very much, everyone, who were a part of the session. And it was great to see you all virtually. Hopefully, some point of the time we can catch up. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend.
Thank you so
So,
much, Mr.
Assalamu
Farooque.
alaikum.
Bye
Yeah.
bye.
Thank you, sir.